What up, though?
What up, though? 2024. What up, though?
And welcome to the Bass for the Culture podcast. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We are your hosts, Janine Wilson.
And Gene Wilson IV.
And welcome back to the show.
Yeah, what up?
All right, man. We hope everybody enjoyed their break if you got one. Your holiday season with your family and your friends and your loved ones. And if you're ready or not, we in 2024, we here now.
Here we go. This is it.
Let's make it do what it do.
Michael Jackson.
All right. So if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning into the Bass for the Culture podcast. And since it's the top of the year, I'm going to just go back for the new people here. Y'all, we just two bass players, husband and wife. We kick it. We talk about bass. We talk about the bass players that we like. And we just have a good time.
Yeah.
You will not find anything else here.
Yeah. We're not no technical.
We don't give lessons. Yeah. We don't talk about a whole bunch of
take lessons
nerd stuff. We don't do, any of that.
Yeah, we just like regular bass conversation.
That's it.
And
if that's what you into, then come on. Take your shoes off. Get comfortable.
The water's fine.
All right. Mm-hmm. And while you're here, please take a moment wherever you're listening to us right now to rate, subscribe, share, like, tell somebody, say neighbor. In 2024, I want you to listen to
Bass for the Culture.
Hey.
More in 2024.
Oh, not more in more in 2024. All right, y'all. Thank you again. All right, so we just gonna jump right into it. Like, we gonna, switch some things up this year, but first episode in is gonna be real familiar. Yeah. So what you been listening to?
Well, what I've been listening to, I've been checking out that new Incognito.
Wait a minute.
You.
What?
Yeah, they got a new project. It's been out for a minute. We got Francis Hilton on bass. He's the MD, I believe, from what I've researched. And it's classic Incognito. If you're an Incognito fan, yes. You could put their old CD in and just push from the beginning, do what you got to do, and it's gonna play. Yeah, mm-hmm. It's the same. It's the same character. It's a refresh. It's new Incognito, but if you a fan of them before, you gonna love it.
Yeah,
and as simple as that. There's 16 cuts on there, and I'm like, if somebody asks, "Hi, what about the album?" I'm gonna say it's classic Incognito. Let's see, I'm gonna throw out some names of some of the cuts I like. Into You,
cuts. He's so old.
Keep on Dancing, Reconcile the Pieces. I think that's like my favorite on there.
I'll check it
One
out.
Step, Tell Me Something, came out last October.
Oh, wow. So this ain't even new.
Yeah.
Wow.
2023, October 2023.
You know what? Maybe. All right. So I think I do recall an Incognito song being on my release radar. And I was like, oh, they got a new project out, but I didn't go and listen any further.
Yeah,
okay.
I checked it out.
So that's not new news. Okay, I got you. I got you.
Yeah. All right, so what you been listening to?
Really ain't nothing new my way. I'm in the same old forever loving Anita Baker. Of course, still on Greg Sparrow. He releases new music every week.
Yeah,
I can't help it. It's like it's Christmas every week, every Friday. It's a new Greg Sparrow.
The cool thing about you liking Greg like I like him is that I don't never miss out on nothing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because when I'm riding with you always, got the fresh Greg going. So I could have other stuff going on in my car going back and forth to work, and I might miss one,
Yeah. And I've been revisiting, 90s, 2000s, neo soul. That's just been away from me right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so not too much new, still use of days.
Okay.
Just been a mix, a goodie bag of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then this is not like what we've been listening to, but since we did our last episode, one of the big pieces of topics music-wise was Scarface's Tiny Desk.
Oh, man.
And so now his Tiny Desk was amazing. I'm so glad that
the
world beyond, people that knew back in the day realized that Faith not just a rapper, like he's a musician. And he has an ear. He had, he
grew up in a musical background, so his family
like,
musicians.
Faith is like he that dude, and I'm just glad that people got to see it. The younger generation got to see what we already knew.
Mr. Scarface playing the guitar.
Yeah, so I mean that was cool, but you got people that are like arguing the fact that might have been the best Tiny Desk.
What?
I would put Face in the top 10, but he not.
Well, yeah, no, I wouldn't say it was the best.
It was good. It was very good.
No, yeah, it was excellent, and I'm pretty sure there's probably some better ones that I haven't even seen yet.
Because we haven't seen them all, but
Tiny Desk.
I know I've seen a good chunk of them.
Yeah, I can't even think of one that I could just like, okay, this is garbage. Let me turn this one.
Oh, not at all. Even if it's artists we've never heard of, it's live music.
Yeah, but yeah, Scarface definitely up there.
I put him in the top 10.
Yeah, definitely.
Top 10.
Strong. Yeah.
Because my 5 already cemented. Them 5 ain't moving. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I got, for Give It a Listen, I got this guitar player came across on my Spotify. And I'm like, man, I really digging this song. It's a song called Snarky. And it's a version of it live in Dublin by this guitar player named Max Zaska. Yeah, okay. And he be killing it. He's killing this song, so it'll be on the playlist. Check that out. And then because of the bass, I think you haven't listened to it, but I had sent you a text about this song that we was going to talk about.
Oh yeah, we didn't. Yeah.
So the group is called Nautilus, and they're like a 3-piece band out of Japan, and the song is called Beyond the Redemption.
Oh boy.
And I'm trying to tell you, this song gets the Bass Lockdown Award from Gene.
Oh, the Bass locked down. Dude, okay.
Yeah.
I gotta listen to it, and it will be in the playlist wherever you listen to us right now. Just click the link to the YouTube playlist for this episode in the description box, and it'll take you right there. And while you're there, please subscribe. So I'm definitely throw that in the playlist because I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, and it start off with the piano player like playing like whatever's supposed to be like the bass line on the song, and then the bass kind of mimics the piano line.
Okay.
And like musically, he could have played the bass line exactly like the piano. But my interpretation of it was, okay, that's what the bass line is supposed to be. All right, I'm the bass player. Like, this is
you about to knock your own bass over.
This is my interpretation of how the bass line should go. And it matches and it goes along with what the piano player is playing because he's still playing his bass line while he's playing his,
gotcha.
But it's so locked. It's locked, so y'all check it out. If y'all put y'all comments.
I mean, it got you over there stuttering. You about to be speechless. I definitely got to check this out.
I like it. Yeah, so that's all I got.
Okay.
As far as like the music like that.
That's what's up. And then one more thing I wanted to touch on, and this is not in any way bass related nor music related, but I did just want to say real quick, like, let's go Lions. Like, but this is an exciting time in the city.
Yeah, Michigan just won that game.
That maize and blue team just won. I'm not a fan, but congrats to Michigan and our state, champs, whatever. But then the Lions, man. And it's like everybody, Red Wings doing good, and then you got the Pistons that just won the game. Like we can't never be hitting at all the same time. And I know this ain't a sports podcast, but
it's like we just as happy for that one game Pistons won just so they can have one.
Terrible. Do better next year, y'all. But anyway, go Lions. Really excited about the playoff game between them and the Rams. Stafford coming back to Ford Field, and they gonna lose, but man, not us, but the Rams. Right. Man, it's gonna be great. So yeah, it's a great time to be in Detroit right now, y'all. All right, so you got anything else?
Nah, that's it.
Okay. All right, so we're about to get into our on-base bases. And when you brought this guy up, and I was like, does he really have a story? He's young. Like, I don't know what I can really say about him that has some meat and some substance at such a young age. But I was like, okay.
And he's definitely a representative.
He is. He is for the culture, for sure. All right, so I'm excited to talk about him because I learned a lot of things about him that I did not know.
I'm excited to find out what I don't know.
Yeah, so we're going to get right into it. We are talking about Mr. Michael League on bass.
On bass.
And if you don't know the name, you probably know him, though. Yeah. And we're going to get into it. All right. So Michael League was born April 24th, 1984 in Long Beach, California, but his family moved to Fairfax County, Virginia, and he grew up in Clifton, Virginia. Mm-hmm. All right. So even as a little kid, he was drawn to music. He started playing guitar in high school.
Okay.
And so he was playing guitar, acoustic guitar, classic guitar, whatever. And he was drawn to like Tom Petty. He was like heavy into rock.
Okay.
Which, if you know him now, it's like, I could see it, but dang, I would have thought he would have started in the genre that we know him for. Right. So he was like heavy into rock, and he also started playing in a little neighborhood band with his friend that was a bass player, and they were like playing like a lot of Led Zeppelin. They were doing like some hard rock songs, and then they kind of was like, okay, but we like blues, we like rock. I mean, we like jazz. So they kind of like took them songs, even as kids, and made them into like a blues, rock, jazz fusion
so they was
type
making
of
like
arrangement.
their own arrangements of the
as
song.
Kids.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So he attended Centerville High School, and this is in Fairfax County, Virginia. And he played guitar in the jazz band. So
I taught in that class.
You taught in the jazz band class in 1984, but you was still in high school yourself in 84.
Oh yeah, I was 14. My bad. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
So he was in that jazz band. He was under the leadership of director Dave Detweiler.
Okay.
And Michael credits Dave Detweiler heavily with giving him the foundation and the education that he needed to prepare him for all of the amazing things that he was to do later. Like he didn't even know it at that time, but that's where the foundation was. He said that his band director saw the potential in him even as a teenager. And so he kind of took him under his wing, became his mentor, him and just one other student in the jazz band. I think that student was a guitar player.
Yeah, so it's always good you get that personal lesson like that, you know. Yeah.
So he invited them to, him and his boy, the band director invited them to come out and rehearse and perform with the Georgetown University Jazz Band.
Wow.
Georgetown.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he even got them a gig. Now we're still talking like 14, 15. He got them a gig performing with Dave Brubeck.
Wow.
I can never say Brubeck. I don't know. That does not flow off the tongue. With Dave Brubeck and at Constitution Hall in DC.
Wow.
When they were in high school. So that
means
has
you're good.
to tell you that he was good
Yeah.
at guitar as a teenager, right?
Because that remind me like of think about musicians that we grew up that were playing with top artists and they were early 20s, late teens. And they were just that good.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, got it.
And we still talking like early high school. You playing at Constitution Hall? You playing with Georgetown?
Gabe with Funkadelics. High school.
I mean, that's a little different, but yeah. I mean, I get it though.
Yeah.
So his senior year, he decided to switch from guitar to double bass. Okay. And this was at the suggestion of his band director.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because they needed a bass player in their jazz band, but he was like, yeah, I'm going to need you to go ahead and pick this up, right? So.
Hey, you're good on that guitar, buddy.
Right.
You might want to just. Okay.
So he hadn't played bass before then.
Wow.
And so when he switched to bass, he still at that time couldn't read music, really. He was just kind of, he has a natural gifting. He was kind of just floating his way through. But when he picked the bass up, it didn't come as natural or easy as guitar did. So there was an orchestra director. Her name was Cheryl Cooley. And he credits her for giving him free bass lessons during his senior year. Okay. She taught him all throughout his senior year, and she gave him the foundation to read music, and she helped him learn how to sight read.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
So he had all type of like favor at this high school, people that was pointing him in a direction that, I love when stuff just line up like that, So he said that his time at Centerville is when he went from being interested in music to being obsessed with it. It was all he could think about, all he wanted to do. He was making his little arrangements. So after high school, he went to the University of North Texas and he majored in jazz studies. Okay. So he was like, this is where the real education started. So he get there, and of course you're music major. You already know how that goes in university and college, right? So when he got there, he was like, everybody was playing circles around me. He was like, I was just like realizing I knew nothing. But he was like, that gave him motivation. Okay. Because some people, that'll make them want to quit. Like people like me. I'd be like, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, and then they're speaking a whole nother language.
Yeah, like I don't know this language.
I'm not from this.
Nope. And then other people, it fuels them. You know, like it gives them motivation to want to learn.
I think with anything, it depends on how bad a person want it. You know, if you want it bad enough, most likely you won't let it not motivate you.
Right, yeah.
If you not want it bad enough, it's easy to let stuff like go to work, like not motivate you. All right, go ahead.
Anyway, so all right, so like he went freshman year, okay, cool, getting the hang of it. Like he's learning stuff and making musical friends and all this good stuff. So his second year in college, Michael formed Snarky Puppy.
Oh, and his
sophomore year.
So the whole time
college.
We've been listening to Snarky Puppy. He formed this in his second year of college.
You got to listen to the story. Listen to the story. All right. So yes, Snarky Puppy was formed when his second year in college. They were at that time a 10-piece band.
Okay.
So we already.
So Snarky always been a big band then. Cause all right.
So. Like you're right, it's starting off at 10-piece, and we know it's been a gang of them, and we gonna get into that. But he said, listen to the reason he said he formed this band.
Oh boy.
And it's hilarious when you think about how great Snarky Puppy is, right? So he was like, yeah, I formed Snarky Puppy because I was so bad at playing, I didn't get placed in any of the school ensembles. So he started Snarky Puppy as a way to be able to play with the band or an ensemble.
So that's genius.
Ain't dog.
Oh, y'all won't let me play with y'all band? Okay, I'll just form my own band and have y'all play with me.
And I mean, that's one of the things, like how things line up, you know, because say he would have got into a school ensemble, he never probably would have thought to form this band, this big group of musicians, you know what I'm saying? So that second year of college. Okay. So when he was 21, this like around third year, he was at it because he's in the Dallas, Fort Worth area, right? Mm-hmm. So at 21, he was at a jam session in Dallas. And even back then, late 90s, early 2000s, Dallas was popping for music.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Scene. Dallas always been on.
Yeah. So he was in a jam session, right? Mm-hmm. And he met Phil Lassiter. And Phil, are you familiar with Phil?
Yeah. Okay. His name ring a bell.
All right. So if you're not familiar with Phil Lassiter is a brilliant trumpet player. Mm-hmm. And at that time, he was the MD at a mega church. I'm going to put a pin there. But just to talk about Phil just for a hot second, he did go on after all this to become the horn line arranger and director for Prince.
Oh,
Prince ended up hiring him. And this, he played with,
is he part of the Horny Horns?
Mm-mm. Oh, okay. Nope, this was after. This was like the band that Prince was using before he died.
After the revolution and stuff.
Way after. Because we think about the timeline.
Yeah.
So,
you say Prince, I just automatically just jump back to like For You.
No. Yeah. So, but back to where we at in this story. So he was the MD at and I'm using air quotes, okay? Because at a mega church in the Dallas Fort Worth area. They didn't say the name of the church, but from the inferences that I gathered, it was the Potter's House. I'm gonna leave it at that, okay? I just hope everybody made it out all right. So he was the MD. Phil was the MD at this big old church in Fort Worth, right? And he was at the jam session, and he was like, "Oh, this boy good." And so he was like, "Hey, I'm Phil." And he like, I might. And so he was like, Phil was like, "Can you come play at my church?" And so he was like, "Yeah." Michael had not played gospel up until this point, but remember, he's a jazz studies major, so he got the culture in him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
around what year is this? Gospel already made it. This turning around a little bit.
This was late 90s, borderline 2000s.
It's making a turn.
So he ain't played gospel. You know, he was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna come. The band at this church, mega church, was insane. The keyboard player was Bernard Wright. Rest in peace.
Yikes.
Jason or JT Thomas on drums.
What?
And then they had like a 20-piece band. Half of the band was in Roy Hargrove's band. The other half was in Roy's band and Erykah Badu's band. So you got all these musicians that are
when
already.
they be talking about these R&B artists be grabbing these church musicians.
No, I'm trying to tell you.
No, the churches be grabbing the R&B musicians.
Vice versa, like back and forth. So then you got an amazing band. You know, he playing with established musicians. He's still a kid in college. He formed his band, but he is playing with these like already been touring the world musicians. Bernard Wright. So Bernard kind of took Michael under his wing. And so with Mike being, attached with Bernard, he got so heavy into the church scene, but he also got super heavy into the club scene in Dallas. So he was like, for about 3 years, that's all he did. He would play clubs 5 nights a week, including Saturday. And then he would do church on Sunday. With some of the same cats he done played all week with in the clubs.
Wow.
I mean, that's no different than everywhere.
Yeah, that's like
everywhere.
Normal musician life.
You do floods on Saturday and then you're out to church with the same musicians on Sunday.
Now, the only difference between that schedule is whether he's a full-time musician or a working musician.
He was a student musician.
Okay, well, I'm saying like if he had a full-time job, then he'd just be doing like Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. But you're a full-time musician, you doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know, you're doing all the week.
Yeah. So he was 5 days a week at the club, and Sunday is on church. Sundays on church at church. And so here's the thing. We know Mike is white. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, the thing about playing in a black church was that it gave him kind of an advantage. It was being able to play black music in a black environment, which is something he had never been able to do before. Okay. Because in high school, it was not a black environment. At school, in the jazz program, it was not a black environment. And so kind of what he meant by that was like growing up studying jazz, which we all know is a genre that was developed by black people. Just being able to be there where the majority of the musicians are black and grew up in the church playing gospel music, playing, our music. He was like, he was in the culture that birthed the music that he loved and studied. So he was like, what better way to get that firsthand? Yeah. And he was like, that was one of the best experiences he ever had in life. And I was like, that explains so much about why he plays the way that he does.
It does, yeah.
Like, it makes so much sense now. Yeah. And so he was so hot in Dallas, name ringing out, Mike Lee, right? And then still in the midst of this, we still growing Snarky Puppy. He still got gigs with them and whatnot. So his name was ringing out so much. During this time, Mike, he done played with Walter Hawkins.
What?
Kirk Franklin, used him heavily. Never knew. Marvin Sapp. Myron Butler.
Oh yeah, that reminded me about checking the old CDs, the credits, and see how many.
I wonder, yeah. And Israel. Yep. Now he did record with them, but he did a lot of live performances with them, and he was also a part of Erykah Badu's band, The Grits.
What?
Did not know that either.
Did not know that.
So Michael League was making his rounds around Dallas.
Wow.
And I'm like, man, and I try to think of like some performances, like I can't think of any performances that I've seen. And I was like, we got a white dude on bass, but he killed it.
Right.
I
wonder how many credits I looked and seen Mike League on bass, and just because I don't know who he is.
Yep. But that was just kind of wild to me. I didn't know any of that. And so he playing with all these people. He doing clubs. He doing church. Like, that's all he did for like 3 years. And so he got so good at playing bass. He was like honing his like writing chops. He was doing arrangements. He was just absorbing his whole self in music. So, man, it was like everybody wanted to play with him. Everybody wanted to be a part of Snarky Puppy.
Yeah.
So,
because when you think about it, sometimes like Snarky Puppy. Let me see if this analogy make any sense. Say Snarky Puppy is like Saturday Night Live, and you always have guest artists. You got a guest drummer in, or you got somebody guest on Corey Henry on the keys or something. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
So so a big part of Michael League is Snarky Puppy. So we really need to talk about Snarky Puppy for a minute because you can't.
Yeah.
He was.
That's how I got up on him, really.
So this is really going to be about him and Snarky Puppy. Okay. So we already know that they were formed in 2004 at the University of North Texas. They were a 10-piece, but we know over the years they have grown to 19 regular on the roster.
What?
19 regular on the roster, but over 40 musicians have performed with them.
That's crazy.
And most people refer to them as a collective. Mike Leake said he doesn't like that because a collective means that you're kind of rotating people in and out. He was like, everybody is family. He calls it a family.
Okay.
He was like, yeah, we perform, we tour so much, we do all these shows. Like, if people feel like, oh, I can't do this at this time, then we have other people that come. Like,
so it's almost like if you play with Snarky once, you part of Snarky.
Yeah,
Puppy.
that you in.
You in.
Yep.
And we just, you get in when we can. When you can't come in, you. Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Manny telling us about the drummer? Oh, no, that was Gene. Gene was telling us about the drummer. He seen a video, a drummer that played with Snarky Puppy, and he was on an airplane on his way to the gig, no rehearsal.
Oh, yeah.
Never played with him.
I don't know which drummer that was.
I had to, yeah.
So, yeah, over 40 musicians, man.
That's crazy.
And so some of the band members, real quick, like regular band members, just to throw a few names out there, Larnell Lewis on drums, Sean Martin.
That's my dude.
Sean Martin. Jameson Ross.
Sean Martin.
And Bobby Sparks. So, like, here's the thing about Bobby Sparks, because he was kind of integral in getting Mike out there. So, Bobby Sparks is a name that rings out to people who are familiar, not familiar, but who knows gospel, like 90s gospel. Bobby was a big part of Kirk Franklin's early albums. He was the MD. He played keys, like synth, everything.
Yeah.
And he's like a legend. Like, he's well known in the music community. And so Bobby really put Mike on to a lot of these people.
That's crazy. That's what's up.
And they was like, his work ethic, he was a solid dude. Like, he was professional. And, like, the dude is funky as all get out.
One of the trends that I liked that attracted me the most to Snarky Puppy is that first video. You know what I'm saying? That whole layout, everybody just open and just like the live recording. And you see, it just started a trend because everybody do it now. But that was like one of the things that just attracted me to the whole thing, and his energy. You know what I'm saying? It's like when I first got up on Snarky Puppy, I was like, okay, who's Snarky Puppy? Okay, Mike Lee's the bass player. Okay, now what? Took me a minute to even realize like he is his band.
Yeah.
So that was great.
And I don't even like, and I'm gonna get into like when we first got aware of Snarky Puppy, but I'm like, in the beginning, I didn't even know it was his band.
Yeah,
like,
that's
when
what
they
I
first came
said.
out, I'm like, okay, I just figured it was just one big group of musicians.
That's what I thought. And then I see who the bass player. Of course, the first thing I do is see who's playing bass.
Yep.
And then I see Mike Lee playing bass. But still, I don't know that is his band. I'm like, okay. But yeah.
Yeah, so like you write about like how they did their live performances, and I was just like you said, they weren't the first, but it was really cool to see.
And I think, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think
you good.
At the time when Snarky Puppy came into my life, I think I was like searching, because you remember it was like a point in time in music you couldn't even find no good live music.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like even with jazz, it was like even the jazz was all watered down, with the fake drums and all the fake synth bass.
It got real ridiculous.
Yeah. And so then it was like, oh, I hear this group of live musicians. And that was another thing that was attractive about it. It was the group of live musicians. It wasn't like the regular 2-piece, 3-piece band or whatever,
Yeah.
And then the arrangements they was just on a whole nother level.
Yep. All right. So even though they started in Texas, and a lot of the bands were, the musicians in the bands were students from the University of North Texas and people that he met in the gospel world. Michael did end up moving to New York after he graduated. So you'll see Snarky Puppy billed as like a Brooklyn-based band, but really, the origin story of Snarky Puppy is in Texas. Yeah, which is weird to me because I'm like, they're not Brooklyn-based, but okay. Maybe when we got put on to them, they had already transitioned to New York, but yeah, anywho. So, we're going to just get into their discography real quick because for me, it's the timeline.
Okay.
And so their first unofficial album was released in 2005, Live at the Uncommon Ground. And a lot of people, especially like here, didn't really have their hands on that one. We didn't really know them back then. It was when they released their first official album that they got on my radar. And you kind of started hearing people talk about them. It was the 2006, The Only Constant album.
The Only Constant.
And then the Hot, on that album, they had Hot and Bothered and Precipice. Those were two songs that I starkly remember from that album that kind of had my attention. Like I saw them on YouTube. And then in 2007, when they released The World Is Getting Smaller. And on that album, two of my favorites were Thorn and Phobias. And so around 2007, that's when you really heard musicians. Like, musicians in our circle, Snarky Puppy. If they came and did a show in somebody's basement, like at the shelter, it was a line out the door. Like musicians were, and it seemed like it was really just musicians. Like nobody else was talking about Snarky Puppy. But that's when the name, at least here, I can only speak for our experiences here. You know what I'm saying? That's when you really start hearing the buzz. I was like, okay, Snarky Puppy. And then 2008, when Bring Us the Bright came out, and that's when I was really like, yeah, these guys, all these people, I don't know who they are, but yeah. So like the last 4 songs on this whole album were amazing. Like, but Celebrity was that one. Celebrity was that song that people was playing everywhere. It was the song that when you said Snarky Puppy, it was the one that people would want to hear. So I was like, okay, cool. They 2010 Tell Your Friend album, that was cool. 2012 Ground Up was cool.
That was cool. The 2000 Tell Your Friend.
Yeah, it was.
Skate You on that?
It was cool. I'm getting to a point. I'm getting to a point. But let me skip a little bit. 2013, because they had 2 2013 albums, but I'm gonna skip to this one. The 2013 Family Dinner Volume 1. That was the one that lit the world on fire. That was the one with Free Your Dreams with Shantae Can. Everybody loved that song. Yeah. And then they had Going Under. That was a banger too with Shayna Steele. But that was the one that had freaking something on it with Layla Hathaway when Layla was harmonizing with her own self.
Oh, yeah.
That was the one that sent Snarky Puppy into the stratosphere.
If you didn't know Snarky Puppy before then, when Layla hit
you
the
knew
chords,
them then.
You knew them then.
You absolutely knew them then. And I was like, okay. And that's when you started seeing them everywhere. People was going back to their old songs, like, because it was like everybody at that time was just like, oh my gosh, who are these guys? Like, we had been up on them. Like I said, it seemed like to me, and maybe that's just because that was our circle, but all I ever heard talk about Snarky Puppy was musicians.
Yeah.
We couldn't wait to see Snarky Puppy.
Yeah. It's crazy though, like how you break down this timeline, and it's just, I have no knowledge. I couldn't. It's so many Snarky Puppy songs in my library. I have no knowledge of telling you what album this song was on, because like one of my songs are like just off the top of my head, like Binky,
yeah,
Flood. I couldn't tell you what year, what album. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like
Binky was the one.
Yeah.
And then the live version of Binky, that was on Live at the Ground Up Music Festival.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to tell you, But man, after that, it was a wrap. They was on and popping.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like even like big musicians at that time was like, how do we get to sit in?
Yeah.
Like, can we come and play with y'all? They was the hottest ticket in town.
Yeah.
Tours going crazy. They was playing so many shows, Gene. And I read a story. Somebody had mentioned how they saw Snarky Puppy in a dive hole in a wall bar in Texas. And they had to cram like 12 people on one little bitty stage. And they had it was about 7 people in the crowd. And they gave an amazing show.
I wish we was there. Because that'd be
what an experience.
That would have been the one I want to be.
What an experience.
7 people.
Yes.
Yes. And you could, you know what I'm saying? Like the band right there. And you could like, hey, you could talk directly to them and they could hear you.
Yeah. And not only that, like people are hungry at that stage. Yeah. So you know they putting the show on. Like it was 7,000 people in there or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like when you got the type of musicians that's going to give you the same show for 7 people as they would for 7,000 people, for 70,000 people, them the type of musicians I want to sit and watch. Yeah. I want to sit and learn from, no matter what instrument you on, you know?
That's a great musician, period. Like you play the same whether... Yeah. Don't matter how many people you in front of.
Because I'm the first to be like, oh, okay, what type of gig is this? Oh, okay. Oh, the 3-year-old's going to be there? Oh, okay, yeah. I'll learn the songs when I get there.
Man.
But you got that one musician, like it could be, 3-year-olds. They all with headphones on and they going to still show up and know their material like professional.
Yeah. And so that song, Something, actually earned them a Grammy.
Which one?
Something with Layla Holloway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that song was just amazing.
Yeah, it was.
And to this day, it still gives me chills. I was listening to it the other day, and I was like, man, Layla, girl,
man,
who does that?
The first time hearing that was
I got instant goosies. Like we kept rewinding it. Oh, it was the vocal. It was the vocal shot heard around the world. That's all everybody was talking about. Layla Hathaway, like it was nuts. Yeah. And even the thing I love about in that recording of that song, you can even hear the audience like, oh my God, the audience was going crazy. Can
you imagine
when you watch the
there?
Video, Michael and all them, even Snarky Pup, they was playing. They were like, oh my gosh, like they couldn't believe that was happening.
Yes. Can you imagine that?
Oh gosh, being in
live
that room
while it's being recorded. Layla thinking like, they don't even know it's about to hit them.
And then Layla, I feel like she didn't even plan. I feel like she was like, oh, let me just do this. I felt like that was.
I think it just
impromptu.
happened.
Yes,
like she was like she. Like, I did it. Like I did it before.
Yeah,
okay, it came out good. It came out good.
How do you even form your palate and your throat and all your everything? Your epiglottis.
But see, you could do that when you're an alien.
Do that. You gotta be.
Yeah, you could do that when you're an alien.
That is out of this world, bro. Yeah. So, like, thank you, Michael and Snarky Puppy and all y'all for bringing that greatness to the world.
Yes,
that is one of my top 50 greatest musical moments that I ever remember in life.
Yeah, I would put it. I could drop it down from 50.
I could drop it down. I don't know where it is in that 50, but
I feel like I don't want to be caught up in emotion. Be like my top 10.
Right. Like, that's why I just said top 50. It was a great music moment. You know how you just sometimes it's those musical moments that are just unforgettable. Yeah. Like the first time we seen Michael Jackson moonwalk, and I mean, even though he wasn't singing, but still, you know what I mean. You just remember things like that. You remember the first time you saw Purple Rain.
Yeah.
You remember the first time you saw Prince?
For me, the first time seeing Purple Rain was seeing them do the extended version of Let's Go Crazy. I was like, what is happening? Oh my God.
See, you remember those musical moments, like, and that was one of them. It was great.
Yeah.
And if y'all heard it, I know y'all probably feel the same way too. Like if you were there when it happened, not there, but in that time when it happened, it was amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah, so they actually went on to release 9 more albums from 2014 to 2022. And that included the Live at the Ground Up Music Festival, like we talked about, that had the live version of Binky. So fire. And then in 2017, they started the Ground Up Music Festival, which was a huge pre-pandemic, was a huge festival in North Beach, Miami. And then what was cool was that the lineup was curated by Michael League himself. Mm-hmm. So the performances included Snarky Puppy, because it was a 3-day festival. Mm-hmm. Of course, Snarky Puppy headlined all 3 nights. And then, but they also had Michael McDonald. So let me tell you about Michael McDonald. Michael League is a big Michael McDonald fan. He was like, people think when I get in my car, I'm listening to like Return to Forever. He was like, no, I'm putting on Michael McDonald and the Doobie Brothers. I'm like, yes, you understand, Michael. Yes, y'all know I love me some Michael McDonald now.
Yes, I do.
Don't get me started. So, of course, Michael McDonald, he had Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. Robert Glasper, of course. Because you can't never have no jazz festival without Robert. Esperanza, Terrence Blanchard, Christian Scott, Joshua Redmond. So he put on a good show for the festival. I said festival. Oh my gosh, festival.
Man, one of the things I love about Snarky Puppy, and I'm going to just go say this without even just off the top of my head, and I will have to do research to even correct it. But until I do the research and correct it, I'm placing Snarky Puppy in my top 5 of Vamps.
For what?
Are they songs? Like Vamps.
Oh, period.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you had one specific.
No. Just like you talk about somebody has music and their Vamps, like you get their collection of music and take their Vamps. I'm saying Snarky Puppy Vamps outnumber any Vamps of all my.
You're not wrong. And you know why?
Why?
Because Michael was a gospel bass player.
Yikes.
Gospel.
He knows how important that Vamp is.
Black Church is the home of the Vamp. Come on now.
Man, you are the conspiracist.
I'm just saying, like,
it makes all perfect the pieces
sense.
Together.
It makes perfect sense. And it's just amazing that this, I mean, he's not a kid no more, but at that time, like, this kid just curated all this great music. Like, he did all of this arranging and writing and just placing people and pieces together to give us, like, this amazing music. And I just, like, his story is really cool. It's inspirational because to me, it's just divine destiny. Yeah. Like, just things happening in your life to put you in a place where you're supposed to be.
And I want to say, I know we're talking about Snarky Puppy, but I want to just say something too about Mike Lee and his bass playing. And I don't even know. All right, let me just not try to make it more complicated than what I'm thinking in my head right now. But I just want to say, like, his bass playing always is like compliment to the music, like seasoning.
Complimentary, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
he don't do too much.
It's like everything is like every note is just like every note is calculated. Like it's supposed to be part of the song.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we listen to all my chops. You know, even though I like chops. You know, but I'm saying like that's why I like his music so much, and that's why I like his bass playing so much because it you know, his bass playing is structured towards the song.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's because he wrote it.
Exactly. So and that's another thing too. I feel like he write like a bass player.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I like his music so much. Like I just can relate to it. All the different changes. It can start off one way, ends a different way. It's like a whole journey, like a story. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what I like about him? I like his energy and his attitude. Like, he always looks so happy when he's playing bass, and it just makes you like into what he's doing. Like,
he makes music look fun.
That's it. That's it. Like, it's always good energy, man. And that's Lord, I'm having a problem with my words today. That's what I love about Snarky Puppy, and that's why I enjoy watching their videos because everybody's just playing with such good energy, and it's fun. They having a conversation. You see them laugh all the time.
It's like they're at the gig away from the gig.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the gig that was work, and then they come to this gig because this is the fun gig that we were waiting for.
Because they all play with other bands and stuff. So it's like, this is where we come to have fun.
Yeah.
Man, and it's just, I can't speak highly enough about Michael League and Snarky Puppy. And
him and that octave pedal is crazy,
goodness
man.
gracious.
When you hit that octave pedal, I always love it.
And this might be my bad for my half a internet research. I I don't know what bass he plays. Doesn't he play Fender?
Fender. I want to say.
I don't
Fender.
know. I didn't research any of his gear, but I know I see him with the Fender. But I'm sure he has other basses. But the ones that we've seen has been Fender. But the cool thing about Mr. Michael Lee that started out on guitar, went to bass, and then became a jazz studies student, and he's just brilliant in so many ways. In 2021, he released his debut solo album.
Yep.
It's called So Many Me, and it's called So Many Me because he performed every instrument on the album.
I did not know that,
including vocals.
I did not know that. Yeah. I think I heard maybe one cut off of there, so I haven't really spent no time with it. Whenever I'm in the mood for Michael Lee,
it's different. You have to look at it in a different lens. And he was like, it's music I've always wanted to make.
Okay.
He was like, he is really into pop music, and it was just music that was in him to do. And when bass players make their own albums, that's the music. It could be way different than what we might have expected. Yeah, because they get to do what they want to do. And
then that tells you what type of bass player it is too. Because if they're like musically like songwriting and arranging, their music is going to show that way. If they're more skill, technical, their music is going to be that way. They have a little track and they just playing around showing you all the techniques that they could do. I mean, Victor Wooten, his first album, it was nothing but the bass. You know what I'm saying? But it was, but yeah.
So, and that album, like that, when that album came out, people was like, it was met with critical acclaim. So that's amazing. But he had put out so much music at that time. Well, before that time, he could do that. Yeah. Anything he put out, people come like, oh, that's so great. Yeah, because it probably is.
And if you don't think so, then you questioning your musician ears. Like, I don't know if I like this song or not. It must be my ears, because if Mike wrote it,
it's good.
It's good.
Basically. But Mike, he's still on the scene. He's still doing his thing. But he said deuces to America in 2020. He lives in Spain now.
What?
Yeah.
That's why we haven't really heard much.
I mean, he chilling. Okay. He doing stuff behind the scenes and whatnot. But but if it wasn't for Mike Lee, we would have missed out on like half a decade of great music. Yeah. And the amazing,
and all these jam sessions. It was like the birth of jam sessions.
It wasn't especially on YouTube, and then you just start seeing other collectives, then Jam Card, and then all these other people, and they kind of followed their blueprint. And I was like, yes, let's have more of that.
Yeah. So it's great. You see, even like some of the gospel artists kind of use that kind of setting. Yeah.
I just wish we can see more of that outside of LA and New York. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Bring that stuff to Detroit, because we pay for that stuff. We love music.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or we could put our own stuff. We put our own.
We could put our own. There's enough musicians in the city of Detroit to do something like that. But I just wish there was more of that here. And I'm not even saying other artists. Like you said, we could do our own things. But like musicians got to be able to come together, put aside ego and all that stuff, and be able to collectively play as a group. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I just wish that was like,
that's basically speaking topic right there.
Yeah, we can talk about that. But Mr. Mike Lee, man, thank you so much. In your short years of life here, you have done so much. You've given us so much great music. Thank you for Snarky Puppy.
Yes.
And man, just shout out to everything that happened in your life to align to get you to where you are today, for real.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, so that's Mr. Mike Lee on bass, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
All right, so we do got some time for a couple of segments here, and I'll let you choose. What do you want to start with?
Well, let's just go right down the list and start off with No Synth Bass.
All right.
And so for those that don't know, it's just beginning of the year. So the first episode, No Synth Bass is for us bass players. We love live bass, and it's cool for those that play key bass. We appreciate that too, but we just being picky. We love live bass. So we pick songs that we like that have heavy synth bass, and then we just say, hey, if I was the producer of this song, I would have used this bass player. So that's pretty much what we do. We pick songs, synth bass, and then we say who we want live bass on. So this episode,
because y'all know, just some songs are just better with live bass, you know, and especially 90s, 80s songs. A lot of them synthesizers were just, the sounds were dated. So like just to freshen it up and
I'm horrible.
Put some live bass on there.
I'm horrible. I'm the first one to be like, yeah, this song would be straight if it had live bass.
Yeah, and I mean some songs key bass really does work on, especially the newer stuff. But
and I have many of songs that I love that I wouldn't like as much if it had live bass, but I'm that guy.
Yeah. All right, so you're not alone.
So this episode, the song we picked was All Right from Janet Jackson. But that big what's the name? Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam synth bass on
that. Classic. I mean, it's classic.
It's classic. So
you know, but Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Terry, you know you're a bass player. But
right.
I don't know why you really wasn't playing like that. And I know that was the sound at the time, but you know you could have played some bass. Yeah. So I'll go first.
All right.
So I had two people. As soon as you said this, I kind of heard two people in my head.
Okay.
Hear me out. Because this first person, you're going to be like, but I'm like, because of how kind of funky and rhythmic the bass line has to be on this song, I heard Derek Bennett. That was the first person that came to mind as soon as you said it.
Yeah, he
I'm like, Derek Bennett
it.
would tear this song up and make it funky. Like, you know. So I was like, cool. But I can also hear his brand of funk on this song. And I feel like he would kill it live also. If this was a live arrangement. I heard Kern Brantley.
Oh, okay,
that's his lane. Like, I feel like he would do well on that.
Yeah.
And both of them would make it funky, like how I'd want to hear live bass.
Okay.
On All Right.
Okay. All right. I agree.
Okay. Who you got?
I like both of those choices. Between the two choices you pick, I would definitely and no disrespect to the other bass player, just, you know, my personal choice, but I would have picked Kern.
I knew you would.
Yeah.
I knew you would.
Kern would have killed that.
Yes, I could see it. I can hear it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I went for my bass player. Now he would have to go back and he'd have to go get Fred's old Tobias, but I went with Terrence Palmer.
What?
Yes. I went with Terrence Palmer. I feel like Terrence would kill that.
And oh goodness gracious, I love.
But I
Palmer.
want to hear him on that old Tobias. I want to hear it on the old Tobias.
I can't hear that one.
Okay.
Because I feel like Terrence Palmer, and correct me if I'm wrong, like maybe because everything I've heard him on is gospel or some type of jazz. I don't hear the drive that's needed on that song, like funk wise from him.
Okay.
And maybe because I don't hear too much funk from even on the Fred live, like, you know, it was funky, but it was still gospel. It was gospel funk.
And I guess I picked him more so too, and that's why I specifically said he has to have that Fred Tobias, the old Tobias sound that he used, because that's the sound I was, that's the sound I was going for. And keep in mind, that's also to keep me from going to my go-to.
Yeah, get out your go-to. Expand. Who was you about to say?
David Dyson, man, he'd tear that song
up. What up, though, David? You know
dude, he would tear that song.
David Dyson is
he would tear that song up.
The resident Bassfortheculture bass player. Okay, you gonna hear David Dyson name every episode almost. Anyway, so we can't choose. You gotta expand your bass players.
So I expanded and so I was like, it took me a minute because I struggled with who I would get.
You did say that. Now, Derek Bennett came in my head first thing, and then I was like, no, Kern would kill this too. Yeah.
I would,
Okay.
So if I put it this way, so I'm doing this song, I hired Terrence, he killed it, you know, and everything. And, you know, I'm like, all right, this is my version, you know, listen to it. And then you played your production and you got Kern on the bass. I'd have been like, oh, man.
But this ain't producer seat. This just no sense. So let's actually.
But I was just saying, if we were to do that. Yeah.
But actually, let's go to producer seat because I'm interested to see what we got going on here.
Okay. So producer seat, we basically pick a song and we just kind of put our own superpower band together if we were, you know, the ones footing the bill and producing it. And so we pick a song and then you kind of give a brief description of what direction you're going with the song, and then we list our musicians, you know. All right. So
you going first?
I'm going first. Mm-hmm. All right. So the song for this episode is called Silly from Denise Williams. Everybody knows it. Silly of me. I can't sing, but for those that
we
didn't
got
know.
you. We got you.
All right, and so my description of direction for this song is I'm going like full award show production.
Can I say something dumb? I don't know. I just thought about this.
Mm-hmm.
If they have verses back in these days, man, I would like to see her and Minnie Riperton go head to head.
Dude, that would have been.
Could you imagine? They were two powerhouses. But go ahead. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought about that.
I like that. That was good. I like that. All right. So again, the description of direction is award show production. You know what I'm saying? Like Grammys award, and say they doing a tribute. That's the type of sound production
that you wanted. Okay, I got you.
That I'm going with. Yeah.
Okay.
So different if I was going with say an Afro Cuban, I would have those type of musicians. But I'm just going.
I got you. All right. I got you.
All right, so I'm gonna just start off with drums because you mentioned his name earlier. I got Larnell Lewis.
Shut up! What is the odds of that? Shut up! That's what's up. Okay.
And then not only that, the last song that I listened to that made me think of putting him on there is called "Change Your Mind." So that's the the song that I wanted to anyway. And then that song has nothing to do with silly, but anyway. But I got Larnell Lewis on drums. I went back and forth between bass players, and I ended up settling on Adam Blackstone because it was between him.
That was too easy.
I know.
That was too easy.
But my first choice was Anthony Jackson, and I was like, well, I can't pick him because he probably the original bass player. So I was like, I will say I was gonna go with Oteil Burbridge.
Okay.
And then I was like, when I started thinking about the award production that I was kind of go to, like Adam Blackstone just got such a signature sound with that, So I went with that.
I mean, that would work for what you're going, but like I said, that was too easy.
It was easy.
It was easy, especially when you said award show. I already knew it was gonna be Blackstone.
Okay, well, yeah. But so the backup, if he was busy doing somebody else's award show, it would be Oteil Burbridge.
Okay.
All right. On keys, I got Patrice Rusher. Okay. Can't go wrong with that. Okay.
I see it.
I'm going for orchestra, so I got Sphinx Symphony Orchestra backing me up on the strings and everything.
Okay.
Vocals, I'm gonna go with Madison McFerrin on vocals. Yes.
Wait a minute.
Yes, I'm going with her.
Okay.
And then on flute, I'm going with Bobby Humphrey.
I thought you was about to say Alexander Zonjic.
No, I was joking.
Oh.
And one of the songs I like from Bobby is it's an old 1973 Blacks and Blues Harlem Drive, Harlem River Drive. The name of the album is Blacks and Blues, and then the song Harlem River Drive. So I got Bobby Humphrey on flute.
Okay, that was a surprising pick. That's what's up.
Oh
shoot!
I'm sorry.
You about to scare me.
I forgot my guitar player.
Who's your guitar player?
I got Ernie.
Who?
Ernie.
Ernie who?
Isley.
Put a name on it. Don't just say Ernie. I don't know who Ernie is.
I mean him cool like that. I thought you knew.
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I'm like Ernie.
What other Ernie? I don't know no other Ernie.
Ernie Ball? I don't know.
Ernie Isley and then Ernie on Sesame Street. Them two Ernies I know.
Ernest Goes to Jail? Like, I don't know. Like,
that's Ernest, not Ernie.
They call him Ernie for short.
Well, yeah, I got Ernest. I got Ernie Isley on guitar.
Okay.
All right.
That's some good choices.
Okay.
All right. So my pick was, okay, so hear me out. We know this song is very string heavy. It's light. It's like dreamy and whimsical. For me, the original recording is not as soulful as I would like it to be.
Okay.
I wanted like a heavy soul aspect, but I still wanted to keep the live instruments.
Okay.
Kind of keep the same elements.
So you putting like a little soulful.
We putting a lot more soul into it.
Are you speeding the tempo up a little?
No, we're gonna do the same tempo, but we're just
putting in like a little swing, like a little soul swing to it.
When I mean soul, I mean we're playing, the instruments are playing louder. They're not gonna be that whisper soft playing.
Okay.
The singers are going to sing. Yes, soulful. Because to me, this song was not soulful. It's pretty.
Soft.
It's a ballad, but it's not soulful. I don't feel it. Okay. I feel it because of her vocals and the music, but I don't feel it in my bones.
I got you.
This version, you're gonna feel it. You know what I'm saying? But shut up.
If y'all could have seen her expression, she was like mad with it.
Anyway, so okay, I'm kind of gonna pull my strings, my horns, my woodwinds from one place. Okay. So I'm going to use the Urban Arts Orchestra from right here in Detroit. Okay. I wanted to use their horns, their woodwinds in their string section.
Oh, I'm hungry.
And including their incredible harpist. She's so dope. Okay. And then, but I also want to add Shantanique Moore on flute. She is a black flautist with the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. Okay. And she kills it. Okay. So I feel like she would be great as like, you know how they be doing like the little flute. I don't want to say solo, but there was a like prominent flute in the song.
In the beginning.
Yeah. So we want to feature her on that. Okay. Okay. So I'm not going to use their drummer or their keys. We're gonna switch those out, or their bass player. Okay. So on drums, because it will give me, I want almost like a gospel feel on the vamp, because you know when they do the on the vamp, I need that. I need that church feel, and so I'm gonna put Taylor Gordon on drums, aka Pocket Queen. Because she's a gospel drummer, and I need that drive and I need that feel, and I feel like she will play that beautifully.
Yeah, okay.
So we putting Taylor on drums, and then maybe because he was in my head already because of this episode, but I'm putting Bobby Sparks on everything keys. I want him to have 12 million modes and keyboards and let him do his thing, like for real. Yeah. And then on bass,
what you got?
I pondered and I racked my brain. I listened to this song with bass ears, not just the vocals. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, this bass line is so in the pocket. It's so simple. It's so classy. It's so basic in a way. I put myself on bass because this is a bass line that I would play in my sleep, and I would love it. And I would just be like so happy. Okay. So I put me on bass.
All right. So my version is the version that comes on TV when you're watching the award show. Your version is the one that I'm looking for on Spotify that I'm going to download and put in my song list that I'm going to listen to on the way to work.
And most importantly, vocals.
Oh, yeah. Who you got?
So, you know, Denise, she goes into her whistle tone, right? There was only one person that I feel like could even replicate that, and it is the incomparable Miss Shantae Moore. Ooh. Shantae Moore has to sing this song,
and she playing flute. You got a featuring on flute too. No, you got.
She don't play flute. Yeah. I have Shantanique Moore on flute, but it's Moore. A Moore.
Yeah,
they might be cousins. Yeah, but Shantae Moore has to sing this song.
Okay,
and that's it.
All right. Yeah, I like that.
And I wanted you to feel it. Like it's gonna be so soulful, like almost gospel like.
Yeah, I like that. I like the direction you went in too.
Yeah,
I like that.
Thank you. I like yours.
Yeah.
Oh, so we way over time. We ain't about to do the other segments.
We'll save it for the next one.
We'll save it for the next one. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to us and rocking with us on Bass for the Culture. Please send us feedback and just say, hey, y'all, you know, we like what you're doing. We don't like what you're doing. Yeah. Anything. We love it.
And then after that, tell somebody the same thing you put for your feedback. Just say, hey, guess what? I left these comments on this podcast that I listened to. Just tell somebody. And tell them if they don't understand what you're talking about, tell them to listen to the podcast and leave comments just like you did. Yeah.
And then if you're listening to us on Spotify, you can actually go to the little box there in the description box, and you can tell us how you like the episode.
Yeah, you can do that.
That'll be great too. But y'all can hit us up at bassfortheculture@gmail.com. You can say what's up in our inboxes on where are we at? Instagram or Facebook, wherever. We still like not really on TikTok like that. Y'all listen. When I press that little TikTok button, I do everything but what I'm supposed to do. Like it's just a place that I don't like to go to because it wastes so much of my time. I promise I'm gonna try to do better, y'all. But whatever. But yeah, say what's up to us and send us feedback. We do love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right, we just looking forward to this year.
looking forward to it. And y'all keep hanging out with us. And
that's it.
Peace.
No, you can't peace first. Because I have to say, until next time, peace.